She loved him, silently. Not the kind of love that bursts in bright confessions or reckless declarations. No, hers was quiet, patient, hidden beneath smiles, beneath stolen glances, beneath the soft rhythm of days passing in hope and waiting. She loved him in the spaces between words, in the pauses of conversations, in the very air he breathed, even if he didn't know it. And now it was almost too late. Every day she would wake with the same thought, the same fragile hope curling inside her chest. Maybe today he would notice. Maybe today the world would align and he would see her the way she had always seen him. But the world rarely listens to wishes whispered from the heart. She would stand at the window, watching the first light of dawn spill over the city, brushing the rooftops with gold, and imagine his face emerging from the morning mist. She pictured him smiling, tired from his endless obligations, yet still finding the time to look at her, to pause, to remember. And each day, when he didn't appear, the weight of longing would settle deeper into her bones, a quiet ache no one could see. The bench by the old fountain had become her sanctuary. She arrived there every afternoon, rain or shine, carrying the same bag, the same hope, and the same unspoken promise to herself: I will wait. Not because she believed he was perfect, not because she believed he would always come, but because she loved him. And love, real love, doesn't care about timing or logic or the chances of being noticed. Love waits, even when it hurts. And yet, love is fragile. Love is delicate. It can bend under pressure. It can crack beneath the weight of silence. She knew this. Somewhere deep inside, she felt the shadows of doubt creeping into her hope. But she didn't turn away. Not yet, not while even the smallest flicker of possibility remained. People passed her every day. Some glanced at her, noticing her quiet presence, but none understood. None could see the story written across her face, the silent poetry of devotion she carried in her eyes. They didn't know the countless letters she had written but never sent. They didn't know the calls she rehearsed but never made. They didn't know the nights she had spent awake, imagining what it would be like to finally hear him say the words she had longed for. I see you, I love you. And somewhere, far away, he was oblivious, busy, distracted, caught in the currents of life he believed were urgent. He didn't notice. He didn't see the small signs. He didn't feel the quiet pull that had drawn her toward him for years. He had no idea the weight of her waiting, no idea that with each passing day, a part of her heart quietly surrendered to the possibility that he might never come, that perhaps he would arrive too late. And yet, even as her patience wore thin, as the world moved on without notice, as friends advised her to let go, as life whispered that love should be spoken, not hidden, she waited. She waited because some loves are not loud. Some loves are not meant to be shouted. Some loves are meant to be endured, treasured, and held close, even if the world never knows. It was in these quiet moments, the ones that passed unseen, that her story truly lived. The soft brushing of leaves in the park, the distant laughter of strangers, the slow, deliberate fall of rain against cobblestones, all of it became a backdrop to her devotion. Every heartbeat was a drum of hope, every breath a prayer for him, every glance at the horizon a question: will today be the day? But fate is cruel in ways we rarely understand. It waits until the heart is fully invested, until the soul has bared itself completely, and then it tests us. And for her, fate had a cruel plan. She would wait, she would hope, and she would learn too late that sometimes love isn't enough to keep time from slipping through our fingers. And in the quiet streets, in the soft amber light of the setting sun, she waited, completely unaware that the very moment he finally decided to return, to stop running from life's chaos and acknowledge the heart that had always loved him, it would be too late. Too late for words, too late for touches, too late for everything she had dreamed of in the silence of her waiting. Too late for love that had always been patient and always true. This is the story of waiting, of longing, of devotion so deep it cannot be measured in days, weeks, or years. This is the story of a love that lived in silence, thrived in hope, and was shattered by the cruelest timing imaginable. She died waiting for him, but he came back too late. And as you listen, know this: have you ever loved someone quietly, in the shadows, without telling them, only to realize too late that life does not always grant second chances? Her name was Clara. She was the kind of woman whose presence lingered long after she had walked away, like a soft fragrance or a fading melody. People admired her for her kindness, her gentle patience, her quiet wisdom, but they never knew the depths of her heart, the secret chambers where love lived and breathed for one man alone. His name was Adrian. Ambitious, determined, the kind of man whose life moved at a relentless pace, leaving little room for pauses, reflections, or the small, silent love stories that blossomed around him. He was not cruel, far from it. He was simply unaware, caught in the currents of life and work, believing that love would wait, believing, as so many do, that it always would. They had met years ago, in a chance encounter that neither could forget, a collision of worlds, of eyes that lingered too long, of hands that brushed and then recoiled, knowing something had been sparked that neither dared to name. At that moment, the universe had whispered possibilities, but fear, pride, and circumstance had silenced them. And so their story began not with confessions or declarations, but with quiet glances and fleeting moments, memories that would echo through the years. Clara's life became a ritual of hope. Each day she would wake before sunrise, dress with care, and step into the city streets, imagining the possibility of seeing him again. Perhaps he would pass by the cafe where she waited. Perhaps his footsteps would finally align with hers on the park path. Perhaps today would be the day he noticed. And though years passed and seasons changed, she waited, like a lighthouse keeping its flame alive for the ship that had promised to return. And Adrian, he was oblivious, his mind consumed by deadlines, meetings, and responsibilities. He never paused to wonder about the woman who had once smiled at him so brightly, so purely, that it had pierced the walls around his heart. He didn't realize that in the quiet corners of the world, she had built a sanctuary for him, a place where love lived, breathed, and waited patiently, day after day. They came close, countless times, almost touching, almost speaking, almost understanding. A letter left unopened, a message drafted and never sent, a moment where their eyes met and a crowd or circumstance tore them apart. And with each near encounter, Clara's heart grew heavier, but her hope never faltered. Hope, after all, is the only companion of love that waits. Rain fell one evening as Clara sat on her bench by the fountain, her coat pulled tightly around her. Drops slid down the stone like tears she did not allow herself to cry. She looked across the empty square, imagining him walking through the mist, imagining his smile breaking the clouds. And in that moment, the wind carried her whispered wish, "If only you knew how much I've waited." Meanwhile, Adrian moved through his world with efficiency and purpose, never pausing to wonder about the woman who had once smiled at him so brightly, so purely, that it had pierced the walls around his heart. He didn't realize that in the quiet corners of the world, she had built a sanctuary for him, a place where love lived, breathed, and waited patiently day after day. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and yet Clara remained faithful to her vigil. Friends would ask, "Why do you wait for someone who doesn't even notice you?" and she would smile, softly, almost sadly, and answer nothing, for words could not capture the depth of what she carried inside. She did not wait for recognition. She waited because love had no alternative. It waited, endured, and flourished in silence. And then came the nights. Oh, the nights were cruel. When the city slept, Clara would lie awake imagining what it would be like if he finally arrived. She pictured his footsteps echoing in her hallway, his voice calling her name, his hand brushing against hers as if fate had finally remembered. And sometimes in her dreams it happened. Sometimes the impossible became real, and she felt the warmth of his embrace. But she always woke to emptiness, the cruel reality pressing upon her chest. He had not come. Yet life is rarely kind to patience. Somewhere along the line, time began to slip, unnoticed, and Clara's heart, though resilient, began to falter. Illness crept in silently, a quiet thief that stole her breath, her energy, and eventually her days. But she did not give up. She could not while hope remained, not while love still whispered that maybe, just maybe, he would arrive. So she waited, every day in that same place, unaware that her vigil would soon reach its final chapter. And Adrian, he began to feel a stir, an unease he could not name. The city felt emptier, quieter, faces blurred, memories pressed upon him. One evening, a letter arrived, unsigned but unmistakable in the handwriting he recognized, words folded with care, speaking of longing, of days counted, of a love he had never truly acknowledged. And suddenly, he understood. He saw, perhaps for the first time, the woman who had loved him all these years, whose patience and devotion had silently carved a place in the world that only he could fill. It was too late. Not yet, but soon. And somewhere deep in his chest, panic rose like a tide. He needed to find her, to tell her everything, to undo the years of absence with words he had never spoken. He would go, he would run, he would beg forgiveness and pour all the love he had discovered too late into her hands, and he would arrive just as the last grains of her time slipped away. For love as pure as hers does not wait forever. It burns, bright and fragile, and when the world is not ready to honor it, it fades into memory. And Clara would teach him, in the cruelest, most beautiful way, what it truly meant to wait for someone who may never come. She loved him with everything she had, and soon he would understand the cost of absence, the weight of silence, and the heartbreak of being just a moment too late. And so, in the soft glow of twilight, with leaves rustling and the city holding its breath, Clara waited. Her heart was strong, her hope unbroken, and her love eternal. Time, as it always does, moved forward. The days grew warmer with the approach of spring, then harsher under the unforgiving summer sun, yet Clara remained steadfast. She became part of the landscape itself, an almost invisible figure on the park bench under the cherry blossoms that bloomed and fell, the same way her hope grew and frayed, only to bloom again. Every passerby saw her, yet none saw the story etched into the lines of her face, the silent devotion that bound her to a man who did not yet know he belonged to her heart. And Adrian? He was beginning to notice. Not yet fully, not with the clarity he would need to save her, but in fragments, memories that struck like lightning across a gray sky, a laugh in a cafe that reminded him of hers, a glance at a stranger's eyes that reflected the warmth he had once ignored, a name whispered in conversation that made him pause and remember. Slowly, the fog was lifting, and he could feel the pull of something he had never allowed himself to feel before: regret, longing, and perhaps, if he admitted it, love. But the universe, cruel and deliberate, had more tests in store. The near encounters began. A letter she had left on a park bench for him, a letter written in the quiet hours of the night, remained untouched because he was busy with a meeting that ran late. A phone call she rehearsed 1,000 times, calling just to hear his voice and confess her love, went unanswered because he was trapped in the chaos of the city streets, oblivious to the longing on the other end of the line. Moments after she left the cafe, he arrived, scanning the empty chairs, unaware that the woman who had waited years for him had just left. Every near miss, every opportunity, slipping like grains of sand through their fingers. And yet, each of these near encounters carried weight. They shaped her heart, hollowed it in some places, and hardened it in others, yet never extinguished the fire of hope that burned in the quiet corners of her soul. Clara began to write more letters, leaving them in places she knew he would pass: the bakery he frequented, the corner street he always crossed, the bench by the fountain. Everywhere she placed a piece of herself, hoping, praying that he would find it. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. One evening, a storm arrived, as sudden and fierce as the emotions Clara had tried to suppress for so long. The rain fell like shards of glass, cold and sharp, but she remained, waiting under the awning of her favorite cafe, clutching her coat tight, her heart beating with the rhythm of anticipation. Adrian, unaware, was stuck in a traffic jam that stretched like a serpent across the city, each honk of a horn, each wail of an ambulance, echoing like a cruel reminder that timing is not always kind to love. And when the rain finally ceased, Clara walked home, soaked to the bone, yet her hope was unbroken. She did not know this might be one of the last nights she would endure this vigil. The days continued, each one a mixture of longing and patience. She watched couples pass by, their hands entwined, their laughter spilling into the streets, and she wondered if they too had waited as she had, or if their love had been simpler, easier, given freely without the weight of silence and missed opportunities. And yet she did not envy them, for she believed her love was unique, pure, and destined, if only the world would allow their paths to cross in the perfect moment. Adrian's realization grew stronger with every passing day. He could not shake the feeling that something vital had escaped him, something he had neglected while consumed by the trivialities of life. And slowly, painfully, he began to notice the pattern: the woman in the park, the letters left in corners, the fleeting glances that seemed almost carved by destiny itself. And he knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that she had loved him all this time, that she had waited, that she had given everything, quietly, patiently, for a love he had yet to recognize. But even as he made plans to find her, to finally reach her heart and confess the love that had gone unnoticed, tragedy began to weave its quiet thread into their lives. Clara's health, weakened by years of emotional endurance, began to falter. Fatigue and subtle pain crept in, almost imperceptibly, like shadows across a sunlit room. She ignored it at first, believing her love would sustain her, believing the mere act of waiting and hoping could shield her from the inevitable. But her body, like her heart, could only endure so much. And then came the night that would forever change everything. Clara sat by her window, looking at the city lights flickering in the distance. She held one of her letters close, the ink smudged from her tears, and whispered into the empty room, "If you knew how much I love you, if only you knew." And Adrian, miles away, finally read one of her letters, the one she had tucked inside a book he would never open until now. His heart twisted. He understood in that single moment the depth of the love he had ignored, the years of devotion he had missed, the patience he had taken for granted. He ran. The city blurred past him, lights streaking like comets across the night, but he did not stop. He needed to reach her. He needed to tell her everything, to hold her, to finally be the man she had been waiting for all this time. And in that desperate, breathless run, he felt a new understanding of love, that it is not measured by days or months or even years, but by the depth of the heart and the courage to act before it is too late. And yet, fate is relentless. Clara had been waiting longer than she should have. The illness, quiet and unforgiving, had taken hold. As Adrian rushed through the empty streets, the very city that once separated them seemed to conspire, slowing him, forcing him to see every obstacle as an agonizing reminder of the cost of absence. And when he finally arrived, breathless, desperate, hope blazing in his chest, she was not there. She had gone, leaving behind only the letters, the memories, and the echo of a love so powerful it could not be contained in a lifetime. Adrian fell to his knees beside the empty bench, clutching the letter, the one she had written for him, never knowing if he would come in time. Tears fell freely, and in that moment he understood the cruel, beautiful truth that she had loved him perfectly, patiently, endlessly, and he had been too late. This, then, is the story of love that waits, of hearts that beat in silence, of devotion that transcends time and circumstance. It is the story of Clara, who loved with everything she had, and Adrian, who learned too late the true cost of absence, of inattention, of failing to see the treasure that had stood before him all along. The morning was quiet, almost impossibly so. The city hummed softly, the way it does before a storm, as if holding its breath. Clara had awoken before the sun, a fragile light slipping through her curtains, illuminating the pale, exhausted lines of her face. Her hand trembled slightly as she reached for the letters she had written, letters filled with hope, with love, with longing that could not be spoken aloud. She held them close, pressing them to her chest, as if the words themselves could sustain her heart for one more day. She did not know that this morning would be her last. She did not know that the world had finally decided that her vigil was complete, that the years of patient waiting had reached their inevitable conclusion. And still she believed, still she hoped, still she imagined the moment he would appear, breathless, perhaps apologetic, certainly in love. She imagined his eyes, searching for her, finally seeing the woman who had loved him beyond reason, beyond time. And Adrian had never run so fast in his life. The city blurred around him, lights streaking in the early morning mist, his heart pounding in a rhythm he had never known before. He had read her letter, the letter she had left tucked in a book he never thought to open, and the words cut through him like shards of glass. Every unspoken word, every missed moment, every silent tear she had shed for him now pressed against his chest. He could not waste another second. He would find her. He would tell her everything. He would undo the years of absence with words and touches and promises too long deferred. But the universe, as it often does in the most cruelly poetic way, had conspired against them one last time. Adrian's steps faltered as he turned the corner toward the park bench where she waited every day. There was a stillness there, too perfect, too absolute, and as he drew closer, dread settled into the pit of his stomach. The bench empty, the letters fluttering in the breeze, unmoved by human hands. And then, in the soft, golden light of dawn, he saw her, pale, fragile, as though she had been carved from the very light itself, lying still, her hands folded over the last letters she would ever write. Time stopped. The world seemed to pause. Adrian fell to his knees beside her, breathless, desperate, screaming inside for a miracle that would not come. "Clara," he whispered, shaking her gently, his tears mingling with the morning dew. "Clara, it's me, I'm here." But the world did not respond. Her eyes, closed forever, did not flutter open. Her chest, still and quiet, carried none of the life he had come to rescue. He held her hand, so cold now, and pressed his face against it, feeling the absence of the warmth that had fueled his every regret. And in that moment, he understood the cruelest truth of all. He had come back too late. He remembered everything, every glance he had ignored, every letter he had left unopened, every word he had failed to speak. He remembered the mornings she had waited in the chill, the afternoons she had spent watching for him, the evenings she had dreamed of a life they would never share. And he knew, with a clarity that struck him like lightning, that her love had been perfect, pure, endless, and he had squandered it, blind to the most precious thing the world had given him. The letters in his hands trembled as he read them once more, aloud this time, as though the sound of her words could call her back. "I will wait for you," she had written. "I will wait until the end. I will hope, I will love, and I will always believe that one day you will see me." And now he saw, too late. He felt the weight of every unsaid word, every missed moment, every silent tear she had shed for him, now pressed against his chest. He could not waste another second. He would find her. He would tell her everything. He would undo the years of absence with words and touches and promises too long deferred. In that silence, in the stillness of her final rest, he vowed he would never forget. He would carry her love with him, a sacred memory of patience, devotion, and the heartbreak of missed timing. As the sun rose higher, illuminating the park, the letters fluttered in the breeze, their ink faint but indelible. Adrian sat there, holding her, weeping for what was and what could never be. He whispered into the morning air, "I see you now, I love you now, and I am sorry it took me so long." But the world did not answer. Her eyes, closed forever, did not flutter open. Her chest, still and quiet, carried none of the life he had come to rescue. He held her hand, so cold now, and pressed his face against it, feeling the absence of the warmth that had fueled his every regret. And in that moment, he understood the cruelest truth of all. He had come back too late. And so the story of Clara and Adrian reached its painful, inevitable peak. She had waited faithfully, endlessly, for a love that finally arrived, but only in time to witness the agony of absence. And he had learned the most painful lesson a heart could ever know, that love, no matter how true or patient, can be lost to the cruel passage of time, that the heart can break even when it beats the loudest, that some stories are written not for happy endings, but for the echoes they leave behind. And in that park, with letters scattered like petals and the soft light of dawn bathing them both, Adrian held the memory of her love close. He knew he would carry it always. He knew he would never forget the quiet devotion, the endless waiting, the love that was too big, too patient, too real for him to see in time. She had died waiting for him, but he came back too late. And the world, as cruel and beautiful as it is, moved on. But their story, their love, their heartbreak would linger forever, in whispers, in letters, in hearts that understood what it meant to wait, to hope, and to lose. The park was quiet now. almost sacred in its stillness. The fountain's waters rippled gently in the breeze, carrying with them echoes of laughter, whispers of hope, and the weight of a love that had endured far beyond its time. Adrian sat on the bench where she had waited, her letters crumpled in his hands, and the reality of her absence pressed down on him like the heaviest stone he had ever carried. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, yet he did not leave that bench. He would sit there for hours, sometimes in silence, sometimes reading the letters she had left behind, tracing her words with trembling fingers as if he could summon her presence through the ink itself. Every sentence, every carefully chosen word reminded him of the depth of her devotion, of a love so patient and pure that it had survived in silence, unacknowledged, until her final breath. Friends and strangers would sometimes pass by, offering kind words or glances of curiosity, but Adrian did not notice. He did not see them. His world had narrowed, focused entirely on the memory of her. He remembered the way she had smiled when she thought no one was watching, the soft cadence of her voice when she spoke in moments of quiet joy, the way her eyes would light up at something as simple as a flower or the sound of children playing. All of it, now, was a memory he would carry for the rest of his life. And yet, in the midst of grief, there was beauty. There was a lesson in the patience she had shown, in the love she had offered without expectation, in the quiet courage that had allowed her to wait, hoping, believing, dreaming. Her love had been a gift he had been too late to receive in life, but one he would cherish eternally in memory. And in that memory, she remained alive, luminous and eternal. Adrian began to change, slowly, painfully. He learned to honor her absence by embracing the lessons she had left behind. He no longer allowed trivialities, distractions, or pride to cloud his heart. He sought kindness, patience, and love in every corner of his life, carrying the weight of her devotion like a sacred flame, guiding him forward. And though he would never hold her again, never hear her laugh in the morning, never feel the warmth of her hand in his, he understood that love, even lost, could transform a soul. In quiet moments, he would whisper to the wind, imagining her hearing him, imagining that somehow, somewhere, she felt the echo of his sorrow and gratitude. "I see you now, Clara. I see you, and I will carry you with me always. I am sorry it took so long, and I will never forget." And though the world offered no response, the memory of her love was enough. It filled the empty spaces in his heart with warmth, a bittersweet reminder that some loves, though interrupted, endure forever. Seasons changed. The park bloomed and withered, the fountain rippled under the summer sun and froze under the winter frost, yet Adrian remained, always returning to the place where she had waited, where the letters had fluttered in the wind, where a love story had reached its tragic, beautiful conclusion. And the world seemed to understand. Flowers were left on the bench, letters placed in the fountain, small tokens of remembrance, as though the city itself acknowledged the love that had lived, silently, patiently, and wholly, for one person alone. And sometimes, in the quiet moments of the evening, when the sun dipped low and the sky blushed with the colors of goodbye, Adrian would feel her presence, not as a ghost, not as a shadow, but as a gentle warmth in his chest, a whisper in his ear, a reminder that love never truly dies. It lives on in memory, in devotion, in the quiet acts of remembrance that honor those who waited, hoped, and gave everything, even when the world failed to respond. And so the story of Clara and Adrian ends not with reunion, not with triumph, but with a quiet, enduring truth that love, when given fully and without expectation, leaves an indelible mark. It teaches us patience, devotion, courage, and the fragility of time. It reminds us that to love is to risk heartbreak, to endure longing, and to cherish every fleeting moment of connection, for some moments, once lost, cannot be regained. And for Adrian, the lesson was carved into his very soul. She had loved him to the end, and in that love he found both devastation and enlightenment. She had died waiting for him, but her love had returned to him in memory, in lesson, in the quiet eternity of a devotion that would never fade. And as you listen to this story, remember this. Have you ever loved someone quietly, in silence, without knowing if they could ever see your heart? Sometimes the greatest loves are the ones that teach us how to live, even after they are gone. And so we leave them here in the gentle light of memory, in the quiet ache of love that was true, patient, and eternal. She waited, he came back, but too late. And in that tragic timing, we find the full, painful, and beautiful truth of love.